Bree is anything but predictable. Hello friends, it is a dawn, it is a new day, it is Monday. Last night was the end of face-off sprints. They ended at 9 p.m. for me here in Eastern Canada. And when they were finished, immediately upon the end of the face-off sprints, Bree dropped the next city. This was actually what I was expecting. I did not know it to be the case, but I kind of suspected that that would be the chaos to which Bree went for. And sure enough, we are going to Rome. So we will be heading to Rome with a romance. It can be any type of romance. It can be an actual romance book, or the romance can be a subplot in a thriller or fantasy or what have you. It can be any kind of book as long as it has a romance. Now, I am currently in my romance era, so I've decided to go with a contemporary romance, and I will be reading The Tourist Attraction by Sarah Morgenthaler. And this book is one that Neva was reading a little while back, and I had my eye on it. And I don't actually even remember if Neva liked this or not. I cannot say for certain, because the only thing I recall about this book is that Neva said at the beginning of the book, there is a moose who is like basically trying to have intimate relations with a car. And I went, excuse me? What book is this? I need to read that. So that is all I know about this book, because Neva was reading it at sprints, told me that, and I went, well, I need to read that and see what the hell is going on in that book. That's all I know about this book. It is just under 400 pages, 390 pages. So it's pretty good size for contemporary romance. But I do kind of hope to read it all today. There's a lot of sprints today, and I would love to get this done today so that I have time to sightsee in Rome. We'll see if that happens, but that is my goal. I will check in with you once I've read a little bit more of this book so I can tell you what the actual book is about, because I doubt the moose plays a big part in it. I think it's just in the early stages of the book that there's like a scene with a moose. And since then, Neva and I have both referred to this book as the book with the moose. So let's go read the book with the moose. Hi everyone, I have made it to 50% of The Tourist Attraction, and unfortunately I am not loving this book. That is so sad. I would DNF it if it wasn't for the amazing Readathon, but I only have 3 hours left at my current listening speed, so I'm just gonna finish it so that I can submit this book for Blue in its entirety. If I wasn't doing amazing Readathon, I would be giving up, and I probably would have given up by now, to be honest. So this follows Graham and Zoe. Graham runs a diner in this small Alaskan town, and he does not like the tourists. He started his diner to be kind of just for the locals, but then it got popular amongst the tourists. He knows all the summer tourists who come every summer to Alaska, one of them being Lana. Lana is kind of a socialite. She has rich friends. She's pretty well off. But this year, she has brought with her, along with her other friends, Zoe. Zoe has saved up to go on this trip. She's been friends with Lana for a long time, but isn't part of her like rich friend gang. She is separate from that. And we see Lana take Zoe to the diner on their first night in town. Zoe gets drunk, and Lana ends up leaving her at the diner while she's drunk because Lana is a little bit flighty. And she went off with some of her other friends. Like I said, there's a little bit of like a clique of the richer people in this book, and Lana goes off with them and leaves Zoe at the diner. And Graham has to get Zoe home to the hotel. So at the beginning of this book, we think, and it kind of sets up this grumpy sunshine situation. Graham doesn't deal with the tourists, but Zoe is a cute tourist, and somehow her sunshine personality breaks down his walls. That's what it's setting up to be in the first couple of chapters. However, after about 2 chapters, Graham becomes extremely aggressive in his flirting towards Zoe and doesn't seem to mind that she's a tourist. It's never explained as to why it's all of a sudden fine and why all of a sudden he's okay with Zoe. Anyway, he becomes very aggressive in his flirting. He's like, Zoe Bear, hey gorgeous, give me your number. Like, he's very aggressive. in his flirting with Zoe. To the point even that he goes out to a bar and sees Zoe there with her friends, sees Zoe getting kind of hit on by another man, and decides to like intervene and be like, she's mine. And I was very confused by this because he had known her 3 days and they had never gone out, and there was no reason to suspect this. And it was just odd. At this point, they have just gone on their first date, like they're in their middle of the first date, halfway through this book. But still, it just doesn't make sense, that change in Graham's behavior. Like I said, it's very aggressive flirting, and I don't know. It makes me not like Graham. It makes me kind of think Graham is a little bit slimy for me. Obviously, that's a problem because I need to like the main male character, and I really don't like Graham. Zoe's fine, but I really don't like Graham. Like, he just makes me feel icky. Like, I do not like him in the slightest. Maybe I will change my mind. Maybe I will like the second half of this book so much more than the first, and I will come back to you and say I finished it. I would like to make an addendum to my thoughts, but I don't think that's going to be the case. Right now, it's sitting at about a 2-star read for me. We'll see if that continues to the end. Aoife is on their first sprints right up there. So I am going to read for the next 23 minutes and just keep reading through the afternoon. I also have sprints tonight, but I'm kind of hoping to have this finished before my sprints. Hard to say. Good morning, friends. Last night on sprints, I did finish the tourist attraction, and I'm going to give this 2 stars. I'm not going to say much else about it because basically all my thoughts from the mid-book wrap-up are the same, but I disliked the male character in this book immensely. Like, even right up until the end, there is an accident that happens at the end of this book, nearing the end, that affects Zoe, and we see him actually get into a physical altercation with someone because of it. And this is not the first time that I've seen him slightly get like physical with another human being. And I just don't think that's what we should be toting as the ideal romantic situation, or like a man that is to be desired. Like, it just didn't work for me. So I'm putting this away, and we're going to be doing some sightseeing now for Rome, because as of this morning, I have no idea where our next city is. I know no things. And to be honest, I don't think we're getting a city today. If things continue in the vein that they have in the past, the timers that Margaret makes have dates on them. And up until this point, they have corresponded to the day that the new prompt is coming out. So if that continues, that means we're getting one tomorrow at some point. Do I believe we can sit and believe that what has happened in the past will continue in the future? No, because Bree is anything but predictable. But as of right now, I'm just going to go with that in mind and assume we're not getting another prompt until tomorrow. So with that thought in mind, last night on sprints, when I did finish that, I picked up Will They or Won't They by Ava Wilder. I had started this book during the Brazil leg, which was more than 3 people on the cover, and only made it to about 46% when that leg finished. So I put the book down, was very sad to put the book down because I was really enjoying it, but I'm going to be finishing it during this leg for a sightseeing book, and I've already made quite a bit of progress between last night and this morning. I'm very close to done. So I may be able to get in another sightseeing book, fingers crossed. I might read the last Heartstopper. There was one Heartstopper I didn't get to over the weekend, so I might also pick that up today. We'll see how the sightseeing goes. I'm not going to be vlogging this book in this video because it is for a video that's coming out in September. So look forward to that. But I will tell you, I'm having a great time with this and really enjoying it. I'm going to go. I will see you when Bree drops the next city. Lord knows when that will be. I'm assuming tomorrow, like I said, but we will see when that happens. Well, Bree has dropped another prompt, and that is that we are going to Greece. Let's go to Greece, everyone. I'm actually very excited about this. This book, I did have to deviate from the color blue, though, unfortunately. I did not have any blue books that fit the prompt of a coastal setting that I had not read, and I did not really want to reread a book. And when I looked up on the internet books set at the beach, because I was doing some research, this book popped up. And as soon as I saw that this was set at the beach, I was like, I'm reading that. Quickly, I went just to confer that with someone who I knew had read the book. Alicia, a dear subscriber that is on my sprints quite often, had already read that. I saw that on Goodreads. I shot Alicia a quick message and said, is this really set at the beach? And I got a resounding, yes, there are lots of beach scenes. And I was like, this is lovely. She goes, it's definitely coastal. This will totally work. So I will be reading The True Love Experiment by Christina Lauren. I'm reading a pre-order. Very excited about that. This is the sequel to The Soulmate Equation by Christina Lauren, which up until this point is my favorite Christina Lauren. And this follows Fizzy, who is a side character in The Soulmate Equation. I pre-ordered this book and just haven't got around to it. So now I am reading this for Team Blue. And unfortunately, it's not blue, but it is a pretty good page count at just over 400 pages. So I'm pretty happy with that to go into Greece. So I have made it to 50% of The True Love Experiment by Christina Lauren. This, like I said, is the sequel to The Soulmate Equation, and it follows Jess's best friend, Fizzy. I loved Fizzy in the first book. Fizzy was a great side character to Jess and River's romance, and I'm so enjoying seeing Fizzy again. At the start of this book, Fizzy is giving a speech at a college graduation and realizes that what she's saying about joy and romance is not really true for Fizzy anymore, and she hasn't been happy in a while in any of her relationships. This takes place about 3 years after The Soulmate Equation, so we see Fizzy in a little bit of a different life situation. Fizzy was in a relationship near the end of The Soulmate Equation, and that ended poorly. We did see that on page. That really shattered her confidence. Fast forward to now, Fizzy meets Connor. Connor is a documentary producer, and his company has decided to make a dating show. They need something with higher ratings and have made Connor make this dating show. He thinks Fizzy will be the perfect main heroine for his dating show. And Fizzy thinks that the only way that this show will come off well is if she's a part of it, because she will make it work for the fans that love that genre of TV, as well as all the fans that kind of like that genre of TV are also her fans because she is a romance writer. They're also using River's company, who is the main company in the original book, where they use DNA to match you to your prospective soulmate in this dating show. So basically, they're picking everyone that Fizzy will be dating based on their compatibility to Fizzy with their DNA as part of the DNA duo brand that River made in the first book. So Fizzy agrees to do the show, and Connor and her pretty much immediately find out they have sexual chemistry. They also find out that Connor actually already knows Jess and River because his daughter Stevie is friends with Juno, who is Jess's daughter from the first book. So I love seeing Jess and River again, and Juno, and how that all works out in this book. As I said, Connor does have a daughter, Stevie, and he is a single father, but we also see his co-parenting relationship with his ex, Natalia, in this book, and I'm really enjoying that as well. So there's a lot of really great things going on in this book. I expected to love this because The Soulmate Equation, I think I said in the last clip, is my favorite Christina Lauren book that I've read so far. So I expected to love this, and I am enjoying it quite a bit. Right at this point, we are just seeing Fizzy start the dating show. So we're just starting that process now. Like I said, she does have quite a little bit of sexual chemistry with Connor, but they obviously don't want to really go into that because she's about to meet a bunch of men on a TV show that he's running, and he needs that to be successful. So he obviously doesn't want to screw that up by being in a relationship with her. And she would be okay to have casual sex, but he is not super into that. So that is where we are, where there's a lot of chemistry, but nothing has happened between them. And now Fizzy's going to start meeting all these other guys on the dating show. So who knows what's going to happen? Well, it's a contemporary romance, so I think we kind of know what's going to happen. But I'm going to head out and finish this book, and I will check in with you when I'm done. Hi, everyone. It is getting to be kind of late at night, which is why I'm just vlogging here, because The lighting is somewhat okay in this room. I know the background is just kind of like doors, but we're just gonna go with it. Anyway, I just finished The True Love Experiment by Christina Lauren, and I'm gonna give this 4 stars. This I knew was gonna be a hard sell for a 5-star read for me because I loved the soulmate equation so much. I adored the soulmate equation. So I knew for this to live up to that, it was gonna be a stretch. But what I did not foresee was how much this was going to be a very similar plot to The Charm Offensive by Alison Cochrane. And I also adore The Charm Offensive. It's one of my favorite rom-coms, 5 stars, absolutely loved it. And the plot of this is very similar. Fizzy, as I stated, goes on this reality TV show, and Connor is her producer. And there is very quickly a lot of chemistry between Fizzy and Connor. And to be honest, the show is very secondary to this book. It's trying to be a part of the book, but it's almost not worth it being a part of the book. It fell a little flat for me. The dating show element of this book fell a little flat, and I didn't feel like I got to know any of the guys. And I think this would have been nicer to have gotten to know some of them, because we talk about how Fizzy has chemistry with some of the guys, even though obviously Connor is the male protagonist in this book. But I think those would have been good side characters. They would have been interesting perspectives to this book as a side peripheral character. And to me, they were so glossed over that they almost didn't need to be there, but they did need to be there for there to be a reality TV show. And it just felt like that part of the book fell flat for me, which is why I kind of only gave this a 4-star rating. The rest of this book was great. And I think part of that was it did not start, the reality TV show part did not start until the 50% mark. It obviously was rushed because the first 50% of the book was just kind of the lead up to the reality TV show with Fizzy and Connor. And I just don't know if the reality TV show part of this book really worked wholeheartedly in this book. And I know there had to be a reason why Fizzy and Connor got to know each other, but I don't know if that makes the most sense if you're not going to play out the reality TV show part of the book to its fullest extent. Anyway, that's how I felt about it. I did, however, love Fizzy, and I did, however, love Connor. I loved Connor's daughter, Stevie, and his relationship with his ex-wife. I loved seeing that in this book. The co-parenting relationship in this book is very good. Like I said, it is nighttime here. It is getting late. And I'm pretty much done reading for today. And I have a sinking suspicion that we're getting a new prompt tomorrow. I could be completely wrong in this assumption, but I think we are. Why I think that? Just because everyone seems to think that. Actually, it's going around in the team chats. Is it true? I don't know if it's true. But if it is true, I don't think I'm going to end up doing any sightseeing for Greece. I just don't think I'm gonna have any time because tomorrow morning I have some errands to run as well. So I don't really want to start anything tonight. I'm kind of wanting the rest of the night off. It's only a couple hours till I head to bed anyway. And then I think tomorrow I'm gonna do my errands, and if the prompt hasn't dropped by the time I'm finished my errands, then maybe I will sightsee, but we'll see how that goes in the morning. This would be, I think, the second city I haven't sightseed for. I didn't sightsee for London, because the Face Off weekend was that weekend. So there was just no time with Face Off. And now with Greece, I don't think I'm going to do any sightseeing either. But that's okay. It's just an added option. It's not something that is necessarily needed to do for the Amazing Readathon. My only goal was always just to stay caught up in the prompts. So I hopefully will get some sightseeing done in some of the other cities, but I'm thinking Greece isn't going to happen. But anyway, I will check in back with you once Brie does drop another prompt and let you know what city we're going to and what's happening and all the things. I'll let you know the things when they happen.
I am running errands and I saw Discord started to go off, and I knew as soon as it happened. I was expecting something today. And I just knew as soon as I saw the Discord notifications that Brie had decided to do the things. Brie has dropped another prompt. So I quickly, once I got to my car, listened to the prompt, and it is to go to Egypt. We are on our way to Cairo, Egypt, and we have to find a historical book. And I considered doing A Day of Fallen Night, and I was going to do that. And then I thought that might be too ambitious. And then I saw in the Discord that someone had tagged me asking me if the B&K book club book, which I'm supposed to start in a day anyway, does it work for this prompt? And someone answered that it does. So I am going to be reading All the Dangerous Things by Stacey Willingham, because is it historical? No, but I think there's a dual timeline situation. And in the video, Bree said that was okay. Why am I not using this for this prompt since I'm going to be reading it anyway? So I am. I'm going to be reading All the Dangerous Things with the B&K book club and getting that read to get myself to Cairo. I'm going to start listening to this book. I have the ALC from NetGalley. I'm going to start this probably tonight. I have a lot going on today, so I don't necessarily think I will be starting it today, but at some point before the end of today, I will start this book.
It is the next day. I am on sprints with Bree. I actually did not even start All the Dangerous Things until about an hour before sprints. Last night was very busy. But I have started, and it's time to kind of start dinner at this point. So that's what I'm going to be doing while I update you, since I don't have a book to hold anyway, and I'm going to have to insert the picture here anyway. I might as well get started on the lasagna. So basically, this follows Isabel. Isabel and Ben, they are married, and a year ago, their son Mason went missing. They woke up in the morning and Mason was not in his bed. And it is now a year later, and Isabel and Ben are no longer together. They have separated due to the stress of this situation. And Isabel is doing talks and going out trying to keep this case alive. And some people see it as Isabel doing what she should be doing and keeping the case alive, and some people see it as her kind of like profiting off her son being taken. Ben, her ex-husband, sees it that way as well. Isabel meets up with a podcaster who agrees to do a podcast about Mason's disappearance, and Isabel jumps at the chance because she thinks that maybe he can solve her son's disappearance. The podcaster ends up moving into Isabel's home. I never really understood why that was necessary, but it's how it's gone. And they start making a podcast about Mason's disappearance. We also see a past timeline, well, really two past timelines, one of Isabel as a small child and one of her when her and Ben first came together. How that's all going to interplay with Mason's disappearance, I don't fully know at this point. We've had one twist that just happened, and to me it was very obvious what that twist was going to be, so I was not very shocked by it. It kind of seemed very obvious to me, so we'll see if the ending twists are the same. At this point, I'm finding this thriller fairly predictable, but I like to hold out on thrillers until the end because that's when thrillers really kick it up. The first bit of a thriller is really just laying out the story, and that's where we're at this point in the book. I'm going to hold off my final thoughts and really what I think about the book until the end, because this could just be a really good setup for something coming at the end, and I'd be like looking back on it very impressed. So it just depends. Hello everyone, I was making some banana bread this morning, and then I got a message from Bree to let me know a little something to tell you. And that is that a future prompt is going to make you mix it up a little. So late last night, I finished All the Dangerous Things by Stacey Willingham, and I ended up giving this 4 stars. I do agree that the plot of this is somewhat predictable. However, I did have a good time following Isabel's story and finding out what happened to Mason, and I found it really digestible, which is how I came to the 4-star rating. I did enjoy the ending and the twist at the end. Like I said, it wasn't a super huge twist, but it was there, and I did have a good time getting to that point and discovering all the ins and outs of this. I did say in my book club behind the scenes that I both loved and hated the ending. I loved the ending because we do find out a pretty good conclusion to the story. However, some things get swept under the rug, or people get away with different things, not necessarily about Mason, but about other things that happened during the story. And I would have liked more focus on those. I feel like some of those things were just kind of like glossed over, and I would have liked more things happening around those
about the conclusion of the story. Obviously, I can't say anything about what those things are or what they do or anything, so that's a very vague explanation to the book. But if you've read it, you can always go see my actual thoughts on what I just said in the Discord for the B&K Book Club, because it is there. So if you want to know my thoughts, you can check out the Discord. But that is the end of this vlog. I have made it to Cairo, Egypt. I will probably do some sightseeing today because I don't know if we're getting a prompt, but I'm kind of suspecting that we're not. Yesterday when I was on Bree Sprints, Bree kind of said that she was only 30% of her way through her travel book. So, you know, that kind of gave me an idea that maybe Bree was not rushing. And if Bree isn't rushing, then I don't need to rush, in theory. Bree could have been lying to me, but who knows? That's kind of my thought process anyway. So I'm not anticipating a prompt drop today, maybe tomorrow. So I could probably get some reading done. In a previous leg, I started Before the Coffee Gets Cold and only read one short story of that collection and then didn't finish it because a new prompt dropped. So I think I'm going to go back, finish that first, and then we'll see what happens for sightseeing. Again, I don't vlog my sightseeing, so it's not going to be in this vlog. But that is potentially my plan as of right now. This vlog was a little bit all over the place. We had a 2-star and 2 4-stars, so it was a success mostly. And we have reached all 3 cities, so that's successful. I cannot believe that there are only 3 cities left and that the Amazing Readathon is almost over. The next vlog is the last vlog. That's crazy. I cannot believe how fast this month has gone and how much fun this readathon has been. Thank you so much, Bree, for putting on this Amazing Readathon, because it is amazing. Anyway, if you're participating in the Amazing Readathon, what was your favorite read from these last 3 legs? We had Rome, we had Santorini, we had Cairo. What was your favorite read from those 3 cities? I would really like to know. My favorite was probably The True Love Experiment. I probably did like that a little bit more than I liked All the Dangerous Things, but they both came out as a 4-star, and I enjoyed both to varying degrees. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.